Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Have I got a good one for you tonight? We're going to be talking about the Holy Grail. Yes, the Holy Grail, and what is it, and where is it, and why is it what it is? All the way from Manly P. Hall's interpretation of it. Of course, you know Manly P. Hall, and if you don't, well, you better get to know him. I'm reading this out of The Secret Teachings of All Ages. I hope y'all like this book. It's really cool. I picked an excerpt of the Holy Grail tonight, and we're going to trade glasses because those other ones shine in my eyes. Anyway, so tonight, thank you all for coming. We're going to get right into this because I got no time to waste because we are on top of things. And just want to give a big shout out to Big Al, who is got the cards done for the angel cards, and we will be doing some shows on that. We'll be learning on all kinds of things, but this one here is all about the Holy Grail. So let's get started. And of course, like always, I have some pictures to show you. And of course, we're going to get to that too. And we will go to that, and we're going to flip some things. And as you know, what is the Holy Grail? Well, the Holy Grail was one of those things that we all hear about, that it was Jesus had this cup. And then if you read the Bible, he'll talk about that. And we are going to go to the share screen so you can get the gist of it. And there we go. Look at that. Okay, and you'll get reason why. Now, was it a Holy Grail? Was it holy because of Jesus and the Bible? Or was it more than that? Was it a story made up by others? Let's find out. Like the sapphire of Ciantha, the lapis exlis, crown jewel of the archangel Lucifer, fell from heaven. This is the beginning of the story. We didn't know there was more to it than just that. Michael, archangel of the sun and hidden God of Israel, at the head of the angelic host, swooped down upon Lucifer and his legions of rebellious spirits. During the conflict, Michael, with his flaming sword, struck the flashing lapis exlis from the cornet of his adversary, and the green stone fell through all the celestial rings into the dark and immersible abyss. One of Lucifer's radiant gems was fashioned of sangreal, or Holy Grail, from which Christ is said to have drunk at the Last Supper. Though some controversy exists as to whether the Grail was a cup or a platter, it is generally depicted in art as a chalice of considerable size and unusual beauty. According to the legend, Joseph of Arimathea brought the Grail cup to the place of the crucifixion. And, I'm going to get my thing here. There we go. Yeah, so he brought it. Joseph of Arimathea. If you know anything about the Bible, it says that Joseph was a well-to-do man. So he could afford things like that. The place of the crucifixion, and caught the blood pouring from the wounds of the dying Nazarene. Later, Joseph, who had become a custodian of the sacred relic, the sangreal, and the sphere of Longinus, that's the spear of truth, carried them into the distant country. According to one version, his descendants finally placed these relics in Glastonbury Abbey in England. According to another, in a wonderful castle on the Mount Stalava, Spain, built by angels in a single night. Under the name Presser John Parsifal, the last of the Grail kings, carried the holy cup with him into India, and it disappeared forever from the Western world. Subsequently, the search for the sangreal was the motive for much of the entirety of the Arthurian. Oh yeah, here we go. The kings that passed the cup And as you can see, here's the cup, and the kings are passing the cup from one to the other to the other. Well, if the Grail was so important, how come they didn't live forever, huh? So let's see, the Grail was the motive for much of the knight and treachery of Arthurian legends. You know, King Arthur and the Round Table. Yes, the Round Table, as you can see, the Round Table, King Arthur. So, no adequate interpretation has ever been given to the Grail mysteries. Some believe the Knights of the Holy Grail to have been a powerful organization of Christian mystics, perpetuating an ancient wisdom under the rituals of sacraments. The Oracle Cup. The quest for the Holy Grail is an eternal search for truth. And Albert G. McEnany sees it in a variation of Masonic Lodge of the lost word, so long sought by the brethren of the craft. There is also evidence support that claim that the story of the Grail is an elaborate of an early pagan nature myth, which has been preserved by reason in subtle manner. And as you go, there you go. Look at that. They see it could be a platter, as you see up there. This could be a platter or a cup, a giant cup, with a green stone in it. That's what makes it so good. It's got the green stone, or maybe it was made of green stone. Who knows? Nature myth, which has preserved by reason of the subtle manner in which was engraved or engrafted upon the cult of Christianity. From this particular viewpoint, the Holy Grail is undoubtedly a type of the ark or vessel in which the life of the world is preserved, and therefore is significant of the body of the Great Mother, Nature. Its green color relates it to Venus and to the mystery of generation. Also, the Islamic faith, whose sacred color is green and whose Sabbath is Friday, the day of Venus. So Islam has more to do with the Grail than Christianity. Go figure. Here's the knight on his quest in the myths and legends. As you can see, these guys traveled far and near, wishing that they could find the Grail. The Holy Grail is a symbol of both the lower, irrational world and of the bodily nature of man, because both are receptacles for the living essence of the superior worlds. Such is the mystery of the redeeming blood, which, descending into the condition of death, overcomes the last enemy by ensouling all substances with its own immortality. To the Christian, whose mystic faith especially emphasizes the love element, the Holy Grail typifies the heart in which continually swirls the living water of eternal life. Moreover, to the Christian, the search for the Holy Grail is the search for the real self, which, when found in consummation of the magnus opus, the Holy Cup, can be discovered only by those who have raised themselves above the limitations of sensation and existence. In the mystic poem, here you go again, it's always these angels with the knights looking for that Holy Grail. That must have been a hell of a myth at the time. Or maybe it's real. Above the limitations and sensations of existence. In his mystic poem, The Vision of the Sir Launfal, James Russell Lowell discusses the true nature of the Holy Grail by showing that it is invisible only to a certain state of spiritual consciousness. Only upon returning from the veil pursuit of hauntingly ambition did the aged and broken knight see the transformed leper's cup, the glowing chalice of his lifelong dream. Some writers trace a similarity between the Grail legend and the stories of the matriarchal sun gods, whose blood, descending from the heaven into the earth, was caught in a cup of manna and liberated therefrom from the initiatory rites. The Holy Grail may also be the seed pod so frequently employed in the ancient mysteries as an emblem of germination and resurrection, and of the like cup shape of the grail be derived from the flower. It signifies the regeneration and spiritualization of the generative forces of man. And that's how we remember the Grail all the time, and it became famous that way. But did it? So what we're telling here is it's not so much that he held it up and drank. He it was the cup that caught the blood of him. So there you go. There are many accounts of stone images which, because of the substance entering into their composition and ceremonial attendant upon their construction, were ensouled by the divinities of whom they were created to resemble. To such things were ascribed various human faculties and powers, such as speech, thought, and even motion. So speech, thought, and motion, which while renegade priests doubtless resorted to trickery, in an instance of which related in a curious apocryphal fragment entitled Bel and the Dragon, and supposedly deleted from the end of the book of Daniel. So that was and of course you see King Arthur. That's how we know the search for the Holy Grail, Sir Lancelot, go! Yeah, Bel and the Dragon, and supposedly deleted from the book of Daniel. Many of the phenomena recorded in connection with sacrifice statues and relics can hardly be explained unless the work of supernatural agencies be admitted. History records the existence of stones which, when struck, threw all who heard the sound into a state of ecstasy. There were also echoing images which whispered for hours after the room itself had become silent, and musical stones, productive in the sweetness harmonies, in recognition of the sanctity which the Greeks and Latins ascribed to stones. They placed their hands upon certain consecrated pillars when taking an oath. In ancient times, stones played a part in determining the fate of accused persons, for it was customary for juries to reach their verdicts by dropping pebbles into a bag. Deviation by stones was often resorted to by Greeks, and in Helena is said to have foretold by lithomancy the destruction of Troy. Many popular superstitions about stones survived the so-called Dark Ages. Chief among these is one of the consecration concerning the famous black stone in the seat of the coronation chair in Westminster Abbey, which is declared to be the actual rock used by Jacob as a pillow. The black stone also appears several times in religious symbolism. It was called Hierapolis, a word presumably derived from England, Ingelbal, and the Syro-Phoenician sun god. The stone was sacred to the sun and declared to possess great diversified properties. The black stone in the Kabbalah at Mecca is still revered throughout the Mohammedan world. It is said to have been white originally, and of such brilliancy that it could be seen many days' journey from Mecca. But as the ages passed, it became blackened by the tears of pilgrims and the sins of the world. Well, there you go. We have learned all about the Grail. And it's not so much, but it's a myth. And as you can see by the cup here, it's got the stones on it. So it's not the power of the Grail so much, it's the power of the stones. The stones, which, I don't know if that one's got stones on it, but it doesn't have to be a cup either. And that one's got big, I don't know, it's got some kind of writing on it, that one does. And it's always shrouded in mystery. Shrouded in mystery. Well, I hope you learned something by that all. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is it's about the stones. So they believed that the stones, and we know that stones carry frequency. lower vibrations or higher vibrations. Certain stones do certain things. Crystals, maybe it was a granite stone. I wonder if that was it, because granite would have crystals in it. So I imagine all the other stones would have some sort of crystals in it. Maybe. I'm not a geologist, but if you're a geologist, come on here and we'll talk about that. Let's see. Anyway, so what gives the Grail its power was the fact that it had the green stone that fell through the celestial bodies and landed in the abyss, taken up and put on a cup of some sorts, and then carried the blood of Jesus, apparently. If not, it's usually referred to us. I always look at the Grail as like this, you're going to get the Holy Grail, which means this almost unobtainable accomplishment, or an unobtainable. But if you obtain it, well, then I guess it wouldn't be the Holy Grail, would it? No, or would it? Means the end of the journey, anyway. It means the giver of greatness, a giver of life, or at least nowadays, anyway. I think it pertains more to, something that's very unattainable. But back then, I think they were on a search for it. They really believed if they had the Grail, that great power would come to them. Why wouldn't it, right? You got nothing else. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all for coming and joining me on my search for the Holy Grail tonight through Manly P. Hall. So with that, I want to bid you thank you and good night, and we will leave with some good old-fashioned tunes I think I got here. Ooh, yes, we do. To take us on out. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Remember, go out and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Peace, everybody. Oops, there we go.